Yo, what's up? Thank you for tuning in today. Thanks to Humans for bringing us in. Thanks to you for supporting the show. I'm Shane Raymer, and you're listening to That Sober Guy podcast, and we help people stay sober. We also talk about drugs, alcohol, recovery, and other random shit, and we have some fun while we do it. Hope you're enjoying listening today, and thank you for tuning in once again. Today, we're talking with Chris Bevacqua, and Chris is a former addictions counselor turned nutritionist, and now the creator of Holistic Sobriety course. Chris is 16 years drug-free. He has a passion for sharing tips and tricks to destroy recovery with proper nutrition, fitness, stress management, and more. Chris lives in Vancouver, British Columbia with his wife and his son, and can often be found cooking up new healthy recipes, collecting toys, watching horror flicks, and generally just nerding out. And man, I'm so pumped to talk with Chris today. We've been chatting back and forth for months now. He's an awesome dude, and he's got a lot of good stuff to offer to the recovery community. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. Before we get to Chris, be sure to check us out at thatsoberguy.com. You can connect with us on Instagram at RealThatSoberGuy and on Twitter at Shane Raymer. Now, finding the right treatment for addiction and mental health illness can be tough. And that's why Sober Guys continue to partner with Foundation's Recovery Network. Foundation stays true to their mission, holds high ethical standards while providing treatment in their nationwide network of residential and outpatient programs. Foundations has individualized treatment plans, and they're focused on creating lifetime relationships for long-term recovery. Like I said, we've been working with Foundations for a couple of years now. We'll be down at the Innovations in Recovery Conference. That's the week of April 16th through the 19th. And man, we have a great time down there. We get to connect with a lot of great people inside and outside Foundations network, as well as do some podcasting. So look out for that coming up in April. If you want more info about that, you can check out Foundations Recovery Network. And then also, if you want some help, or you have some questions about treatment options, you have any questions about addiction recovery, you can go to foundations.com/soberguy, or you can call 833-81-SOBER. That's 833-81-SOBER, 833-81-SOBER, and you can talk with an admissions coordinator about your treatment options. Now, one more thing, and then we're going to get to Chris. I get a lot of questions about early sobriety. What do I do? Where do I go? What don't I do? That's always a classic one. Like I don't really know what the hell I'm doing half the time. And I'm just going to be upfront about that. I'm doing the best I can. I don't have all the answers, but here's what I finally did. Me and some of my closest friends and colleagues created a podcast video course called How to Navigate the First 90 Days of Sobriety. We talk about the first 90 days. Obviously, you can kind of understand that in the course title, about what worked for us, what didn't work for us, what we've seen work for other people, what we've seen that hasn't worked for other people. And we put it all into, I think there's 13 or 12 sessions and a bunch of other podcasts too that are really relative to aftercare and the first 90 days of sobriety and of recovery. You can get the course right now for $25 using the promo code half-off at checkout. Go to thatsoberguy.com, click on courses. We also give the course away for free to all veterans. So if you're a veteran and you're looking to get sober, to help navigate those first 90 days, DM me on Instagram at RealThatSoberGuy, and I'll give you some details. We'll hook up, and I'll get you a promo code, and you can download the course there for free. That one more time, that's thatsoberguy.com. Click on courses. All right, Chris, my friend, announcements, all that good stuff out of the way. Dude, it's good to chat with you finally, man. It's been months. I think we first met over the phone. We had a phone call, I want to say like last July or something.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, dude. So welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Shane. Like I said, it's a long time coming, and been super excited to chat with you. And yeah, man, you've been a great support. So thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And I know you've been hard at work on your course, the Holistic Sobriety course coming up. I mentioned in the bio, 16 years of recovery. Let's talk about first and give a little shout out to how we connected.
Sure.
David Ratchford, dude, is like, he's like the connections guru, dude. Like I can't count how many people I've actually been connected with and been able to talk with and then of course, have my own relationship with David himself, but he's such a good dude. Just want to say what's up to him, and thanks for the connection, man. And look what happens when we step out and make connections. Now you and I get to create some great content today.
Yeah, absolutely. No, David's a cool guy. And not only did he connect me with you, but he connected me with Erica Spiegelman as well. And I was on her podcast. And so, yeah, big ups to David. He's a good guy for sure.
Yeah, Erica's awesome too, man. I've been able to chat with her a couple times. She's been on the show as well. And just good people, man. Nothing like getting around some good folks and talking about recovery.
Absolutely.
So you got 16 years free from drug addiction. Let's talk a little bit about that, man. Where did that start for you?
Sure. So, I mean, for me, it kind of started like the typical route, maybe like with a lot of people in my teen years. You know, I was a pretty, average kid. I didn't do, much wrong. I spent most of my time just skateboarding, hanging out with my friends. And we moved a lot as a kid, and I always hated that. I had like a lot of resentment every time we had to pick up and go somewhere new. You're always the new kid in school, and you got to meet new friends and all that. And so this was around like 16. We'd been living in a place a little while. I had like my first love and a good group of friends, and I thought the world was, never going to change. And then we got picked up again, and we moved to this tiny little small town. And so as a 16, 17-year-old, I was just completely, just filled with rage and anger at my parents at this point. And I kind of thought, screw it, what do I have to lose at this point? And the place that we moved to was, it's a small town, and was like a lot of small towns that don't have a lot going on, tons of alcohol abuse, tons of drug abuse, and all this going on. And I just slid right into that. Wow. Perfectly, and enjoyed every minute of it, and just kept that going all through high school. But it really wasn't until I left high school, moved away from there. So I was away from my parents, living with a group of friends, and we were all a bad influence on each other. This was probably like, 1993, I think. Yeah. And rave culture was kind of just starting, and these underground parties and stuff. And,
oh yeah.
And I did some MDMA the first time, and I thought, I'm gonna save the world with this. This is it, right? Yeah. And then like all good things, the party stopped, but my party didn't stop, right? And so that kept going, and it wasn't just ecstasy; it was anything you could think of, crystal meth to ketamine to PCP to whatever was available. I was ready to do that. And that was years and years of basically just living like a nocturnal life. Like I wasn't awake in the day. I was only out in the wee hours of the night. I was, embarrassing to say, but I had transitioned to that whole club culture type thing. I had piercings in my face and the hair and the whole, all that stuff. And, it just got darker and darker, and how that goes till eventually it's just, my life was out of control, and I couldn't take it anymore.
And this is kind of just coming to me, this question right now about, you mentioned like the piercings and the hair, and I think a lot of us have experienced those times, especially in our 20s. We're kind of trying to find ourselves. Yeah. We don't really know who we are. And it's funny, like as you were saying that, I'm thinking like, man, I wonder if Chris could speak on, like you're trying to find yourself and you're doing all these things to find yourself, but it's really not helping you find yourself. It's actually dividing yourself from who you really are at the same time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense, because you're not finding yourself. You're becoming like a character of yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing real about it at all, and that's the funny thing, is because everybody else is doing that, and you're hanging out with this group of people. You're all interacting the same way, and you're thinking, well, this is my friends and I love them and they love me, but I don't even know who I am. They don't know who they are. Yeah. I can't love them because they can't, I can't love myself. And like, you're just trapped in this big circle, but you're clueless of it at the time. So
yeah, and you feel like you said, I love them, and and I'm sure there's some love there, no doubt, but it is it's like a surface level in a sense, because I can only get on that wavelength or that connection when I'm on drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyways, man, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but so this is into your 20s, I'm assuming, right?
So this lasted like I said, up until, I don't even remember exactly what the year was, to be honest with you. I'm guessing it was somewhere around 27, like that. It was just, I had lots of moments before that were really horrible where I should have said, this is it. But for whatever reason, just this one incident, it was actually just a fairly quiet night at home. I was with my then girlfriend at the time. We did a bunch of drugs. I thought she was going to OD. I had to take her to the hospital. I lied and said, she had some health issues. So we're sitting in there and you know what I mean? And the doctors are yelling at us. And it was just this crazy night. And finally, I brought her home and, was worried this person was going to die. And I just remember sitting there, in the middle of the wee hours of the morning in this dark room. And I thought, this has got to change. I can't do this anymore. Like, this is just, my life is too crazy. I got to make some changes.
So what was that next step that you went into to actually start building a foundation to make changes? Because that's, a lot of the time we hear, it's, the denial factor is so big. And you and I both, just from what you said, I experienced that too, where I had quite a few times where I knew I needed to quit and stop, and I actually wanted to, but I never kind of went all in. Like, what was that moment that was all in where you actually started doing some work to start getting on that path to recovery?
Yeah, I just, like I said, there was a bunch of times before that just really didn't stick. And for whatever reason, this one was the one that just really motivated me into it. And I just dove into it full bore. Even at that time, I don't think I even considered myself as having like a real problem or anything. Like, I didn't think, I need to I didn't even really know what recovery was. I don't think or an option to go to a treatment center or anything like that. I kind of just decided to go into like a monk mode, and all these things sort of switched around that time for me. Like, I had spent a couple years before that basically sleeping on friends' couches and floors, didn't really have much of a job. And then, I was in this bad relationship. And basically when I made this decision, it was like the relationship ended. I actually got like my first full-time job, like real paying job. After that, I was able to get like a little studio apartment for myself. And that was it. I was like, I'm not getting cable TV. I'm going to read books. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to go to the gym. And I just kind of I took it upon myself just to be like, this is it. I'm making changes like across the board. And that's what I did. I just dove into it. Some of them stuck, some of them didn't. I would still maybe, use every once in a while, like, it's just a party, so I'll use on a Saturday or whatever, or something like that, but it was the beginning, and that's like led me to where I am now. Like it took a long time, I'd say, like for making that decision. So when I really felt like I was like a capable, like confident human being,
Yeah. So you didn't do you didn't go to meetings. You didn't do anything like that. No. Dude, and I love hearing that. And I always want to say this too, like, especially for someone new in recovery, I'm not recommending, and I would probably guess that you're not that you wouldn't. I'm not going to speak for you. You can follow up or whatever, but I'm not recommending that people just try to do it on willpower alone. And when I say that, I can really only speak for myself when I say that I know I couldn't do it on willpower alone, because I tried it. I tried it a couple times and it just didn't work. Luckily, I was a little bit more familiar, from what it sounds like, than you were about actual recovery, just from other friends and kind of going through Al-Anon and therapy and stuff as I grew up. So I kind of was able to go down that path. But I love hearing that at the same time, because I think it's proof that shit that works for one person doesn't work for the next, and vice versa. And it's really important for us to keep an open mind and not just say, this is the only way. That's the only way. If you don't do it like this, you're going to fucking fail. Like that's not always the case. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I don't think there's one specific way that you can get it done. We're all individuals in this. We all have our own, weak or strong constitution and how we want to, go through these things. And that's just up to the individual. Yeah. And that's something I talk a lot about in holistic sobriety. Like, there's no real one way. There's a lot of different support groups. You can do it this way. You can do it on your own. You can, everybody finds their own path at some point. So. Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of a great segue into holistic sobriety. That's one of the questions I had for you. And let's just open it up like this. Like, what is it? What is holistic sobriety? Let's kind of break it down.
Sure. So I'll just give you a little bit of a background to kind of how it formed. So after I had, my trials and tribulations, a couple of years after that of just sort of working a normal job, I thought, to do something to give back. I want to like work with people in the community and who are addicted or who are homeless. So I went back to school, and I wound up working as an outreach worker for Family Services in Greater Vancouver, which is like one of the largest nonprofits here. So I was working with their street youth program. So working with young people who are like 18 and under, on the streets, addicted, mental health issues, a lot of violence, all that kind of stuff. And I went and I did that for about 4 years. And it was great. Like I can't say enough good things about.
Well, you straight dove into the trenches, like right out of it. I mean, really, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I loved it. It was like the people I worked with, the kids that I worked with, everything about it was great. It changed my life. Unfortunately, it was more like government funding and stuff that ended that, really, rather than me losing a passion for it. But then after that, again, I'm just kind of working a regular day job, and then thought again, man, I'm not satisfied just working these regular jobs. I have this real thing in me where like, I got to be working with people. I got to be helping, Yeah. And so at that time, health and nutrition was really big for me because I had some really bad health issues. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to dive into this. I'm going to go to school. And I went and I got my certification to be a nutritionist. And it was when I was doing that I thought, oh, you know what, it would be really cool to meld these two worlds together, because I don't think anybody's doing that. And that was basically how Holistic Sobriety was born, where I thought there's plenty of programs where people talk a lot about the psychological aspects of ending addiction. And that's totally good, and that is a conversation that everyone should be having. But when it came to having conversations about proper nutrition and exercise and how to like manage your stress or how to end your negative self-talk and these kind of things, I thought there wasn't really much out there that I was finding, and I thought I wanted to rectify that. And so just kind of dove in head first and started researching as much as I could, and then I thought this could make a really, really cool program, and that's how that was born.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned you've been working on this program for the last 3 years, and one of the things we talked about before we started recording was the amount of research that goes into that went into this this project for you. What was that like, man?
It was crazy and really eye-opening. Like, I just was blown away at the stuff that I was learning. I actually thought that the drug aspect would have been the harsher component to it.
Yeah.
And the information I never had an issue with alcohol. It was never a problem for me. I didn't abuse alcohol. I didn't really drink it. And just the information about alcohol, how toxic it is and what it does to your body. Every day I was just like, wow, really?
Yeah. Straight poison.
Studies and just going, man, this is incredible. Like, do people know the depth of this? So I wanted to share it, and it was just like, yeah, it was really blew my mind completely.
What do you think is like, if you had to break it down to 2 or 3 of the top, the top things in holistic sobriety that are like the key component factors, I guess, maybe if I put it into some trying to sound smart terms.
Yeah.
What would that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, let me put my glasses on.
Let me put my glasses on.
I'd say like the key component is like really simply is like healthy eating, exercise, and stress management. Like those 3 components right there, can do so much to change somebody's life in a positive way who is recovering, that I don't think we give it enough credit how much help that can help with, especially for emotional distress. Like one of the main things, and I'm sure too, like people talk about is the emotional distress, right? Like the anxiety and the fear and the self-doubt and the irritability and the depression and all that kind of stuff. Those are absolutely normal ways to be feeling, because we have done, in particular, so much damage to the brain and our neurotransmitters and dysregulated all of these things. That is totally changeable. That's fixable. And I'm not saying like you're going to change overnight, but if you could increase your chances of like, lowering your relapse by that much more because you're doing these things and making yourself feel that much better, it's like, why wouldn't you do that? So.
Yeah, totally. It's funny. My wife and I were just having a conversation Well, I shouldn't say a conversation. It was more me kind of ranting or whatever. And I apologize to my wife in advance right now publicly. What I was kind of saying, and she, she's good about, okay, she understands, I guess, what I'm trying to get at. But, there's all these different diets and all these different things like, keto. I've been hearing a lot about carnivore diet now and all this, and I don't even know, nearly anything about any of these other than just some basic stuff. Right.
Yeah.
But my point when I was talking to my wife was, what happened to going back to the simplicity of being a human being 100, 200 years ago, where number one, they were just trying to survive by eating. So it was just a general meal, some healthy foods, some general exercise, and let's get ourselves on a somewhat, normal health regimen or health, daily cycle, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there a component to that? Because that's kind of what it sounds like in holistic sobriety. Like it's taking it back to just the basics almost.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's the thing is I stress the simple all the time. Holistic sobriety takes the complex and makes it simple, because I feel like we get lost in our heads and we get lost in our thoughts, and humans just have this like great ability to make things more complex than they need to be. So I just try to bring it back down to that really simple, basic level. And like you said, with the diets, I don't preach a specific diet. I have a way that I eat, which could be kind of compared to like a paleo diet, I guess, but I don't call it that.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to police anybody's diet. That's just like a waste of time for me. So what I preach is like, I just focus on the simple. So I don't focus on a diet. I focus on like protein, fat, and carbs. And like what elements of those should you be eating? So you can do all of those, whether you're vegan or carnivore. It doesn't really matter to me. So that's why when I created the program, I didn't have a diet in mind, and I made sure that I had meal plans, whether you considered yourself a carnivore, an omnivore, or a vegetarian and a vegan, because those things to me don't matter. We're just going to talk about food and how to eat simply again, and nutritiously,
I got to hook you up with my buddy Marv. He's down in San Diego, and he owns One Rep at a Time. And I had some good convos with him about exercise and fitness and diet. And we kind of kicked the word diet out in the conversations. And he started talking about, he calls it smart eating. So it's not going to be clean eating or a diet or anything. Like, let me just eat smart. And that made sense to me. And that kind of clicked when he said that. I went, okay, wait a minute. Like I can do that. Like it's not going to happen overnight, but let me start making better choices. Now, unfortunately, my dumb ass still smashes down the Hostess cherry pie at the grocery store. It's like a running inside joke on the show. Yeah. What about those little cravings, dude? For sugar. Like sugar's a big one in recovery for me, man. And I know it is for a lot of other people out there. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. Sugar is the beast, right? It's the demon that haunts everybody. And there's a really, really good reason for that, especially for former alcoholics, is because you've been downing sugar in a liquid form for so long. Yeah. Your body is just craving it. So when you remove, this is what I tell people, and I think this is really interesting because I don't know how many people fully can grasp this, is you've been drinking sugar for so long. Alcohol is a refined carbohydrate, essentially. It's like more refined than white sugar. It's just like you're pounding that all day. And what you're doing is like you're keeping your body in a low blood sugar cycle, right? So the typical, right? You're feeling good because the sugar's high, so your dopamines kick in and life is awesome. But as soon as that sugar wanes and comes down, now you're irritable, now you're angry, and your body's craving that boost again. So you're going to reach for another drink to get yourself back to where you want to be. And that's a vicious cycle that almost every single alcoholic is in. It's low blood sugar cycle or the hypoglycemic cycle. You're just going to keep going through that. It's like a never ending cycle, basically. And so when you get off alcohol, your body's going to crave those refined carbohydrates and those sugars because it wants to replace that. It wants that dopamine hit again. So I tell people, like, I know it's so hard to stay away from that stuff because you're like, fuck, I gave up drinking. Let me eat a fucking chocolate bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the less you can do that, the better you help yourself, because you might have removed the alcohol from the situation, but if you keep going with the sugar, you're still keeping yourself in that hypoglycemic low blood sugar cycle, and all of the issues with that are still going to manifest, in particular the emotional distress, the depression, the up and down, the emotional roller coaster. So when people are like in new recovery and they're like, fuck, I just want to feel normal, but you're still eating the cake and you're still doing this, like, you're not helping yourself in that situation. So I know how hard it is. I get it. But like, man, you can really save yourself a lot of heartache by removing or limiting severely the amount of sugar and refined carbohydrates in your diet.
Damn, dude, that's so good, bro. I am like, I appreciate you breaking that down, because I've never thought of it like that. I've always thought of it more or less from the addictives of the high of alcohol. I've never actually really thought about it from like it being a sugar addiction as well. And then that probably ties back in, like, I grew up as a kid eating sugar. So I actually started those alcoholic or addictive traits when I was really, really young, like a lot of people out there. So, okay. So what are a couple, or one, or do you have any kind of applicable points that might help people like myself or others out there listening who are like, man, so if I get that craving for, you know, sugar, is there anything I can kind of supplement? I mean, I guess it would be the same for even alcohol or something, but if we just stick to the sweet part of it, the sugar part of it, is there anything we can do to help alleviate those?
I mean, if you want to, I mean, there's a lot of like low sugar, you know, sort of like treats and stuff, desserts or whatever that you can make yourself. There's, you know, plenty of those online. But one of the things I stress is like, and you know, if you do that every once in a while, you know, that's life. I still do that now. You know what I mean? I'm not, a monk sitting here never eating sugar, and I would never expect anybody else to do that. But if you can limit it, that's great. But one of the things you can do to really help that is increase your protein intake. Protein makes you feel full. And when you're full, you're just not going to have that craving anymore. The other thing that the protein is going to do is it's going to dietary proteins can create those amino acids that are going to create your neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin and GABA. So you're going to get that regulation and you're going to feel better. That's why a lot of people, when you see, talking about a new recovery, they're like, I go to the gym and that's my thing that keeps me feeling awesome all day. It's the same mechanism, because you're healing your brain and you're letting those neurotransmitters regulate back again into a normal place. And protein does the same thing. A high quality protein intake does the same thing. So exercise and protein together are super helpful in getting yourself out of that mode.
What is like a normal, you said it's okay to have like a little bit of it, and maybe, I don't know if you just speak for yourself or just in general, but what is like, is it okay to have like a donut once a week or something? Or that's like my kids, for instance, like they want to go get donuts on a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, damn, I really want to crush that maple bar right now, but daddy doesn't want to be a fatty this summer. You know what I mean? Like what am I going to do? But like, what's like a normal thing? I mean, what is
I say, like, my thing is like, if the rest of the week you've eliminated sugar, you've kept it as low as you can, and you're actually like, you're active, whether that means you're going to the gym, or like you walk every day, or you skateboard, or you bike to work, or you do whatever, you're doing some kind of physical activity, then smash that donut, man. Just, you know what I mean? Enjoy it. It's all good. Once or twice, 3 times a month or something like that, if you want to have a little treat, I mean, go for it. So that's kind of my take.
All right. Now, just for full transparency out there, half the time it's my kids saying, let's get donuts. The other half, it's me going, hey, you guys want to get donuts?
Yeah, totally, for sure. I mean, my thing is like, I have, my problem is pizza. That's my, you know what I mean? So
dude, that's another one.
limit my pizza intake, but if, my son or someone was like, pizza, I'm like, twist my arm to get me to go to the bucket slice place and get some pizza slices, right? So we all have our thing, and we just try to manage it best we can, right?
So, and I think that's a good point. Like, it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it right now. Moderation. As long as we're doing it moderately. And I know, like, for me, like, that's hard for me because I was never moderate with cocaine. I was
Totally.
give me the whole bag and I want to do it till it's gone or I die or till, I mean, thank God I didn't die, but I
Yep.
very well could have many a times.
Yep.
So that same kind of concept applies like to food with me.
Totally.
And you know, it's an ongoing battle. And I'm trying to approach it more just from that recovery kind of standpoint, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good point. And that's why I kind of hesitate to tell people what they can and can't do in that area. Like they need to sort of regulate it themselves. But in particular, when we're talking about people with addicted tendencies, things like in moderation doesn't work a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That means I'll go get one donut and eat 12, right?
Exactly. Dude, I crushed a whole, my wife bought, and bless her heart, it was so sweet of her. She brought home 2 boxes of Girl Scout cookies the other day, a box of Thin Mints and a box of the peanut butter ones for her. Dude, I crushed that whole box of Thin Mints. I ate one sleeve during my work day, like throughout the day. Like I'll just have a couple of them, right? Before the whole thing was gone. And by the nighttime, the other one was gone. So moderation thing, dude, is tough, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I know myself to be the same way. So that's why, like, you know, I allow myself a treat every once in a while, you know, go get like a nice chocolate bar, a dark chocolate bar or something like that. And I'm not the type of guy that can have one piece. You know, I don't know how people can do that. I really don't. So that's why I save it up, and it's like a nice treat where it's like, hey, I'm going to eat this whole thing tonight, and that's it, right?
What does your regular diet look like, if you don't mind me asking, man? Like, what's just, I mean, what your regular healthy eating habits?
Yeah, so my regular diet is, and actually it's kind of always changing, but where I'm into a nice groove really now, like the last year, and particularly even I'd say like even like the last 6 months of really upping my protein. That was like a huge thing for me. Learning how to do that and just eating a lot more animal protein for me was big. So a lot more steaks and chicken and stuff like that. I found my energy levels increased and I wasn't as hungry, and I didn't have that sort of bloaty water weight that like carbs and sugar give you. So yeah, basically for me is like high protein is a must. Good quality fats in moderation, and then basically like little to no carbohydrates. For me, that works really well. And I, even without doing a lot of exercise, you know, I lost a lot of weight just by eating that way. So
let's kind of move into that aspect then of like exercise, fitness. How does that connect with holistic sobriety, and what's your take on that?
So I'm not a fitness trainer like at all. I don't really know much about that. What I did for holistic sobriety was just look at the exercises that are going to heal the problem areas that have arisen from, you know, former addictions. So in particular, that's going to be the brain. And there's a lot of good exercises, weightlifting, especially heavy weightlifting, and in particular HIIT training, which I'm not sure if you know what that is, but high intensity interval training is really, really good for healing the brain. So, and what I mean by that is addictions, we have white and gray matter in our brain, and addictions destroys the gray matter in our brain, the area where we have our memories and our ability to learn and a whole bunch of other stuff. The thing that's really cool is that that's not fixed. So you can grow gray matter back. Exercise is one of the ways that you can do that. In particular, high intensity interval training is a really good way. Studies have shown for you to grow your gray matter back. And some of the best ways to do that actually is meditation and mindfulness and yoga in particular. So I talk about those a lot, but a lot of people equate fitness with the gym, and I try to move away from that because I know not everybody is interested in going to the gym and lifting weights. If you can, that's great. That's definitely what you should be doing. But I talk a lot about like just staying fit and just staying active. And like I said, if that means like skateboarding or riding your bike or walking or playing with your kid at the park, then do that like as much as you can. Just stay fit and healthy. Keep your body moving, because as soon as you stop moving, that's when you're going to have the issues, right? That's when you're going to have the bad hip and those bad knees and that bad back and like all that kind of stuff, right?
Dude, my wife and I did a yoga class yesterday, and I don't do yoga often. I've done it before, but it's not a regular thing. I'd like to start making it more often, at least. Dude, that it is this was just like a beginning, yoga class. And I realized how unflexible I am at this moment in my life too.
100%, man. Totally.
But the funny thing is we woke up this morning and we were having a cup of coffee and we both went, man, we're a little sore today, but man, we just feel really good. It just made us feel really, really good.
Yeah, for sure.
You kind of couple that in with the meditation, prayer time, whatever it is that works for anybody.
Yep.
I know that's a big part of my own recovery, trying to stay plugged into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what I tell people they should be doing for sure, that connecting with that, whatever that is for you, whether that's, God in the traditional sense or more of a metaphysical sense, maybe like a Buddhist practice or whatever, like do it. That's, you know what I mean? Whatever it is that you connect with, do it, because that's a positive for sure. Every time I say that it's a positive, I mean, like studies have shown that those things are going to help you.
You did 3 years of research, so I'm sure you have the facts to back it up, which I love, man, because it's like, I think that there's a lot of, well, I shouldn't talk about other people, but whatever, I guess I'm going to. There's a lot of people out there that just throw shit out there. And it really takes, someone to throw shit out there, but then have the facts to back it up. And I feel like you really have the knowledge and the stuff. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for sharing all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I mean, that was a really important aspect for me. If I'm going to be giving people health advice, I wanted to do my due diligence and know for sure that I'm giving you the most up-to-date advice. Like you said, I don't know everything. I can't know everything, but what I can do is just stay on top of the most, the most recent research and give you, that info that other people are doing and spreading the word that way.
So the last part of holistic sobriety that you mentioned when I asked you about the 3 points, and just to recap real quick, it was eating habits or diet, smart eating, clean it, whatever you call it, and then exercise and fitness, and then you also mentioned stress. Stress management, anxiety, depression. What is the component there?
Yeah. So what I stress for that part is just what I was talking about before was meditation practice, a mindfulness practice, a yoga practice. Those things in particular are just an incredible positive to add to your life. Not only are you, bringing your blood pressure down and your heart rate down, you're telling your body like it's okay to not be in that stress mode anymore, but you're also doing that brain healing too, right? Which is like a big, huge, positive in recovery. But learning how to manage your emotions, I think, is probably one of the top things in recovery that people deal with, right? That's it seems to be one of the number one things that people talk about, right? It's just their emotions get in the way. You get stuck in your head, you get caught up in these thoughts and you don't know how to manage them. And learning how to do that is one of the top things for me, because our minds lie to us constantly, right? There's a little voice in there all day telling you you're not good enough, you can't do this, you suck, no one likes you, you know what I mean? You go, okay, brain, sure, thanks, brain, I'm totally gonna believe everything you just said. I don't know why we do that. That's just a human thing that we do that. And what we need to do is learn how to just see those thoughts as just things that our brain does, right? Our brain just babbles all this shit. And if we don't react to them, that's the thing, is you can see them, don't react to them. That's where you're when you start learning that practice, and it's a lifelong practice. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time. And of course I still get angry and depressed and all those things all the time, but it's just incorporating that into your life as just something that you just do every day, every week, whatever it is. You will get to the point where you will achieve, like the Buddhists say, equanimity, which is water off the duck's back, where those moods don't hit you as hard. You don't take them on as that's my identity, like the angry, depressed guy. You just I was feeling a bit angry and depressed today. That was today. Tomorrow's a different day.
So you're not taking it so personal, in other words. And one of the one of my favorite meditations is by Noah Levine, and he talks a lot about. Well, I heard him say one time, and I can't remember if it was on this one or in the book. I don't remember where I heard him say it, but he talks about referring to his brain as the brain.
Yeah,
so it's this separate entity. And dude, when he said that, something clicked in my head, and I went, wait. So I don't have to take all this shit so personal.
Totally.
My brain is so fucking powerful that it's not connected directly to my soul, to my heart. Like, okay, so, and that did something for me for a minute and I still don't fucking get it. Obviously it's a work in progress every day, but it has helped me to not take, like you're saying, those crazy ass thoughts or those feelings or that bad day, and not take it so personal and then not beat myself up over it.
Totally, 100%. And same thing with me, like so much love to Noah Levine and to Dharma Punks and to Chris Grosso and like those guys. When I had dove into their books and was learning that stuff, and Noah Levine came to Vancouver and did like, they had a Dharma session there like with them, and that stuff was life-changing to me. It was life-changing. And I know it's life-changing for other people too. And that's why I talk about it all the time, because it can be everything. It can be like the make or break for you. You know what I mean? You don't have to listen to that little voice anymore. And it's so freeing when you hear that. Like you said, when it clicks, you're like, oh my God. And all of a sudden, like you just drop a bunch of baggage. Like,
dude, awesome. Yeah. No, that's a great analogy, because that is what it kind of felt like. Like I just felt like part of it just melted off of me. And I was like, wait, I've been carrying around this little bastard in my head who's still there, by the way. He's definitely still there. But now I can just acknowledge it and like let it pass through, instead of getting all pissed off and like feeling bad about myself about it. And I don't know, man, I'm still definitely practicing it. And I have my days for sure, but it's definitely gave some relief, in that aspect.
Absolutely. And I don't think you ever like get there, there's no like end to it. Right.
Yeah. There's no like arrival.
Yeah. It's the cliche, right? It's a practice, because you practice it every day for the rest of your life. You never, you never finish, but it's better than not practicing it. So.
Yeah. I'm going to have to ask Noah now too, of the ongoing debate. Is it Levine or Levine? Because I don't know either, dude. I'm going to have to find out for sure. Can make sure.
But I love everything that those guys are doing and did. And they were a huge influence on me. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff, dude. So what's next for you, man? What is life like today, bro? Like, I know you got a lot of stuff going on. You got a daughter, right?
I got a son.
Or son, I'm sorry.
Son, yeah. Life is really crazy as of just the last few months, but it's super awesome. And basically what happened was, when my son was born, we made the decision that my wife would stay at home, and because in Vancouver we live in an incredibly expensive city, and we couldn't afford to put our kids in any kind of daycare or anything like that. It was like another rent on top of everything we're dealing with. So, and my wife had been working as an English teacher, but had been an artist for a long time. So we said, you know what, let's just do this. Like I'll work and take care of you guys, and you dive into your art full time. And she's doing that the last 3 years. And like I said, you were looking at the art. I'm in her art room here.
Awesome.
Just killing it as a full-time artist. And I was working in the animation industry actually as a producer. That was just not a passion of mine. It was just a weird day job that I fell into. It sounds like
it's a ton of work too.
Yeah. And just in November, that was everything you work in animation is based on contracts. In November, my last contract was completed, and I got some money from the company as I left, and I said, this looks like the opportunity for us to make this change.
Yeah.
So as of basically just from December last year, I've been at home. Me and my wife are now both at home doing our own thing. I've dived full time into holistic sobriety. She's doing her artist thing full time. And it's been a bit of a change, but we were working towards this like the last 5 years or whatever, and now we're doing it, and it's just awesome.
Good for you guys, man. Like you're just like you're both living out your dream and what you enjoy to do, bro. And like I just admire that, bro. Congratulations on making that move, because I know that move is a huge move, especially with the son, a family. It's a lot. By the looks of your wife's art behind you, bro, it's just like amazing stuff.
For sure. And it's, if anyone out there wants to check it out, Sandeep Johal Art, if you want to, check out her website or check out her Instagram.
What is it? Plug it one more time.
Sandeep Johal Art.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. And she does a lot of Indian folk art and talks a lot about issues in the Indian community with her art.
Nice.
And she's doing big murals and all kinds of projects and really cool stuff. So.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Yeah. Congrats on that, bro. Super cool. I almost forgot this, and I'm glad I just scrolled down for a minute. I had a question come in the other day from Brian, who listens to the show, and I thought maybe I could read the question, and then we can kind of maybe help Brian answer, or give him
Absolutely
from our perspective. So, Brian says, I've been extremely successful in business. 2 beautiful girls, money in the bank. I have a great life, and that most people would strive to obtain. I have absolutely no craving for alcohol at all during the day, but when 5 hits, my wife and I are bottoms up. I stopped once for like 30 days about 5 years ago. Just didn't have it in my heart and committing beyond that. I've even told my wife several times that I want and need to stop. I'm at a point where she knows it's bullshit, so I'm not taken seriously. My work life is surrounded by booze. All my neighbors drink like crazy. And I'm just at a point where it's comical for me to mention to anyone that I even want to stop. I've drank almost every day of my life since I was 17. It's past time to get the stronghold out of my life. I know now I need to be a grown man, put my foot down, but it's so uncomfortable that I can't make the dedication. Is it because I'm so uncomfortable that I can't make the dedication towards quitting? So I know there was a lot there, but did anything stand out to you? Or
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's such a common thing. Like the drinking work culture thing is they're just tied together, and I have lots of friends who deal with that, who like want to get healthier and want to lose weight and stuff. But it's like they work in, jobs where a lot of people are drinking, or they work even in entertainment where they're always in bars and pubs and stuff like that. So you're the DJ or you're the musician, and you get free alcohol, and it's hard to say no. And really, like my advice to Brian would be like, you have to take the stand and make the change. And I think the thing that's hard about doing it is because you're then removing yourself from that social group at work now, right? Like the after work drinks and all that. But the only way that you can make that true change is by removing yourself from that situation, being honest with the people, telling them that like, look, you're on a sober kick right now. You're just trying to get a bit healthier and reduce your alcohol consumption and get a bit healthier. And that's always like a scary thing to do, to admit to your peers, because there's a lot of ridicule in that, right? But at some point you just got to do it. You got to like make the change for yourself. And the one thing about recovery that's hard is it's fucking lonely as shit, because nobody wants to do what you're doing, and you have to be okay and comfortable with that, because it will be hard and it will be lonely. But if you want to make change, that's the only way that you can do it. You got to go the hard and lonely route to get there and come out on the other side.
And I think you mean lonely in the beginning, right?
Yeah, lonely in the beginning.
Like right at first, because you feel like you're singled out, and you are singled out. Like you said it best, like you're going to get some shit from your neighbors. You're going to get some shit from your sounds like, Brian, you might even get some shit from your wife.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. Like once you take a little bit of that shit, and she knows you're serious, your neighbors know you're serious about it, eventually it'll stop, and you're going to have to just wear it. I have a good idea that just came to mind too. You can try out holistic sobriety, and there's a good excuse right there, and go, you know what? I'm trying out this new thing called holistic sobriety. I heard about it on a podcast. It sounds really awesome. I'm checking it out right now. I'm just trying to, do it a little bit at a time, man. And then just tell them to fuck off after that if they haven't.
Totally, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point that I want to make, and thank you for bringing that up. Is because with holistic sobriety, one of the things I'm trying to get across to people is like, this is not just a program for people to take if you are like, consider yourself an addict. Like, you're just trying to reduce your alcohol consumption and become a healthier individual. Holistic sobriety is absolutely for you, and I don't preach abstinence. I'm not a 12-step program or anything like that. If you want to just learn how to relate to alcohol in a different way and be healthier, doing those healthier things is going to reduce your cravings anyway. You know what I mean? And so it can make alcohol more manageable. So it's absolutely applicable in that situation as well. But it's funny, because I was thinking about this the other day, is like, when you tell somebody that like you don't do coke anymore, they're like, oh, that's awesome, man, that's great. Or like, I don't do whatever, that I don't have a eating disorder anymore, that's great. oh man, I don't drink anymore. What the fuck's your problem? Isn't that hilarious?
Bro, that is so great right there. Yeah.
Isn't that hilarious? That's the only one where people are like, you tell them that and they're like, they're not happy. They're like, fuck
yeah.
you.
What's wrong with you? You don't drink anymore? What is how do you do that? Number one, it's like, yeah, dude, that's such a good point, bro. I love it. Yeah, dude, it's comedy because it's so common. It's such like this normalcy bias behind drinking and whatever. And, it's very common. Real quick, and I know we're going to wrap this up in just a minute, but I want to touch on that real quick, what you said, because I feel I've had a lot of those thoughts about that, about just what you were saying about, holistic sobriety is not just for somebody who needs, who might think they might be an alcoholic or an addict, or maybe they need to go to rehab. I've been really trying to better kind of touch on that on the show just in general. And I guess I just don't really know how to do it because for me, I stick to a lot of my personal experience. Like I went to rehab, I do 12-step, but I know there's so many men and women out there, young and old, that are kind of, and Larry Hagner and I from Good Dad Project talked about this a little bit, that are in that, like, I think Larry called it the middle ground. So it's like, I'm not necessarily an alcoholic, but like, I really want to stop drinking. Like I'm drinking too much. It's not really fun anymore. Yep. I just kind of do it because it's what everyone else is doing. Like, how the hell do I do that? And I'm really glad that you brought that up because I think there's a gap there that needs to be bridged for a lot of those people in that situation.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. And again, that was one of the thoughts behind holistic sobriety. And, I think a lot of people are looking for that. And a lot of the people that tested the program for me, people that I know personally who were kind of in that boat, just said, to me, those same things like, wow, this was really helpful because the other options that were given to them were like, you're homeless or you've been on the streets and you gotta you're starting from the bottom, but it's like, not everybody's starting from the bottom. People want to incorporate something in their life where that they still go to work every day. And so they still have kids and stuff like that. And they need, they can't just drop everything and go into like a treatment program. Maybe they don't need something that harsh, but they need something. Right. And I feel like holistic sobriety can fill that void. So.
Dude, we need to get together and do like a mini conference or something, man.
Absolutely.
Some workshops. I think that'd be great, bro. I've been kind of getting that vibe the whole time we've been chatting. I had this quick little vision of like this, this community get together where we're talking about sobriety and general health and wellness. I think we could get some really good people involved in something like that. So we'll connect on that. And maybe we'll reach out to David Ratchford, maybe Erica or something. That'd be awesome, bro. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely. Like I was telling you before we started, I'm so excited that the research part of this program is done and now it's live because I can now start to build, community with people like yourself and others and really like discuss these ideas and be like, let's do some cool stuff. Let's really bring this to people. I'm really excited for all that.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's been great to chat with you, bro. And I'm excited for you too, man. Congrats on the launch of Holistic Sobriety course and everything you're doing, man. Stepping out with your wife, dude, and your son and just going after what you believe in and what you're passionate about. If folks want to reach out to you, if they want to find Holistic Sobriety, they want more information, where can they do that?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me on most social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, but in particular, I'm on Instagram the most, and you can find me there just under Holistic Sobriety. And you can find the Holistic Sobriety course is hosted on Teachable. So I think it's holisticsobriety.teachable.com. And you can find that there, and you can sign up for the course ready to go.
Awesome, man. Man, we didn't get into Gleaming the Cube. I forgot, dude. Thank you for posting that photo, Christian Slater, Gleaming the Cube, like 1986 or 7. I don't know what year it was exactly, but dude, one of my favorite movies, bro. I saw that when I was scrolling through and I went, there it is. Yes, it's so rad right there.
Absolutely. I've got Gleaming the Cube and Thrashing both lined to watch this weekend.
So. Yeah, Thrashing's legit too. Yeah. That's some good stuff. Remember Rad too? Rad was
I've got that too. I found all these. Like I'm going through an 80s blitz right now. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm gonna follow in your footsteps, I think, man. Lots of good stuff. Yeah. Well, right on, Chris, man. Thank you again. You can check us out at thatsoberguy.com. Connect with us on Instagram at realthatsoberguy and at Shane Raymer on Twitter. We'll put all of Chris's show note or links in the show notes. So if you want to go back and click on those and check out Holistic Sobriety or contact him on Instagram or Twitter, you can do that there. Peace, love, and respect. Keep your blood clean.